Remember this and never forget how you aroused the anger of the Lord your God in the wilderness. From the day you left Egypt until you arrived here, you've been nothing but trouble. Now I want to pause and ask you a question. How many of you think of this as a great way to start a campaign? So, we're raising money to build the West Campus building. We had to put it on hold because of the pandemic. We come back to it. I just want you to imagine if in the opening salvo of lessons on raising funds for the West Campus building, if I started out by saying, let's just lay the cards on the table. Y'all are awful people. From the minute we started this congregation in 1947 to today, you've been nothing but stiff-necked and awful. And I'd like to ask you to join me in raising $6 million. That's what Moses does. In fact, this is the third time Moses does it. We're only in chapter 10. The third time Moses stops and says, I just want to make sure everybody in here knows that you're bad people. Like he just is pointing out all their stuff, all their junk. He's just pointing it all out. The things that they were victims of, slavery, and the things that they perpetrated, rebellion. So he goes through it. That's what 9 and 10 are. It's Moses chronicling what all happened from the Exodus to this 40-year period now where they're just about to cross over. And his story is, don't think it's because you're good people. God's not giving you this land because you're such good people. Because you're not good people. God's giving you this land for his purposes. And then Moses sort of walks through all their memories. And he says, on the one hand, they were victims. They were victims as slaves in Egypt. But on the other hand, they were perpetrators. In fact, think about this. While they were at Mount Sinai, they had just crossed the Red Sea. Just escaped bondage for hundreds of years. They're at Mount Sinai. They're getting the covenant from God. This is the equivalent of the honeymoon. They're on their honeymoon when they have an affair. He says, I'm giving you the law, and in the middle of me giving you your covenant, you start worshiping another God. Again, it's just not the way I would have started a fundraising campaign. How bad you guys are. So why does Moses feel compelled to bring up Israel's failed past 3 times in the first 10 chapters of this book? And I'm going to answer that question. Because if you understand whence you've come, you will know where you need to go. Memory has enormous power. Your memory has enormous power. It has power over you. It has power over the people around you. It has power for our community. It's enormous power. And many of us have painful memories that we have not yet figured out how to conquer. And that's what I want to talk about. Memories of past failures. Memory of past hurts, a memory of bad habits from the past, things that were done to you or things perhaps that you did that you now regret. And I want to ask you, don't say it out loud, but I want to ask you, will you just lay out on the table of your heart for a minute, this is one I'm struggling with. Will you lay one out? So that when I talk about this, it'll make sense to you. In fact, someone said after first service, hey, that was a good sermon. I said, well, if you don't obey, it wasn't good. Because the only reason I'm preaching it is so that it'll change our lives. If it doesn't change our lives, it wasn't a good sermon. So I'm asking you, will you lay something out and analyze it while we talk? Moses wants us to know that there are 2 ways you can deal with your painful memories. Everybody with me? There are 2 ways. You can either let it become your prison or you can let it become your engine. It'll be one or the other.
Hey, I'm John.
And I'm Abby, and we are the hosts of Boulevard Online.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you will, go ahead and give us a big thumbs up by hitting the subscribe button right down here, right now.
If you'd like to watch the full message that this clip is from, click right here. Or if you want to watch another video, click right down here.
Hey, thanks for being with us. Until next time, be blessed.
And don't forget to be a blessing.